for social work. I was a school social worker, and the kids could not say my last name, so they called me Miss Beeswax.
Right. Well, I know you have an event coming up, and I would love to talk to you about your event because I think it's going to be really special. Would you tell everyone what that event is going to be?
I would love to. And first of all, thank you for having me, Erica, on all 11 of your streams. This is amazing. So, hi, everybody. My name is Rachael Spiewak, and I help business owners rock Facebook groups, digital community, but like most of the time it manifests as Facebook groups. And so I'm hosting an event on September 12th through 14th, so only 3 days. It's a fest of growing your Facebook group with Reels. So we're using Reels on Facebook from your profile, your business page. You can even do Instagram if you really wanted to, but the point is to do Reels for the purpose of getting people out there in Reels land over into your Facebook group, as long as they belong in your Facebook group. So that's what we're going to do for 3 days. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be easy. So if you're a newbie, you've never done a Reel before, if you're an introvert, don't even worry about it. I got you, because I know you're going to do social media stuff those days anyway. So it might as well be this, and you don't even have to think about what to do because I'm going to tell you.
I like that.
Sign up at rockyourtribe.com/reels.
Yeah, I am going to share my screen right now. Oh, I had it up and it's gone. I got to bring it back up and then share my screen. I hate when I think I'm ready for something and it doesn't go as planned. Okay. This is what Rachael is talking about. Her rock your tribe. I'm going to remember. Grow your Facebook group with Reels Fest. And what's so special about Reels right now, Rachael?
This freeze frame, by the way, on that reel right there, I'm like, oh, crazy eyes. What's the big deal about Reels? Reels are, they've been around for a while, but they're the kind of the hot thing on Facebook right now. And what I love about them versus stories, for example, or any other kind of content you're making on your profile or on your business page, is that you can opt in and allow Facebook to suggest your Reels to a broader audience than you already have access to. So when you set up your account, or when it's in there, there's a little tick box. Like, would you allow Facebook to share your Reels or suggest your Reels to other people? So do that for sure. So that's one thing. With Facebook content, it feels like sometimes you're like talking to the same 5 people over and over again, right? The algorithm kind of dials you in to the people you're interacting the most with, and you see their content, they see your content, and it feels like, okay, well, like, where are the rest of the people? There's more than 2 billion people on Facebook, right? And certainly a bunch of them belong in your tribe, in your Facebook group. So how are you going to reach them? And Reels, I think, are the best way to go beyond your current network. And people ask me, like, what's the difference between Reels and stories? Stories get shown to your network only, and they live for only 24 hours. Reels are forever, which is great because also there are ways to monetize your Reels. There's certain qualifications and benchmarks you need to meet, but if you go to look up meta creators and opt in to stars and Reels bonuses, so get in line for that. And when you start hitting those benchmarks, you can see what the requirements are. You will get invited to then start monetizing your content. Like, hello, you're sitting on Facebook anyway, making content, you might as well get paid for it. Duh, right? So that's another wonderful thing about Reels. Here's another thing I love about Reels. I love Reels so much. They're super quick, right? 30, 60 seconds. That's it. In and out. I think people are tired of reading long form content. It's like, get to the freaking point already. I'm busy. Tell me what I need to know, right? I'm sorry if I offended anybody with your long form content. It's like, certainly there's a time and a place to like write a chapter and a verse, but it's like,
I gotta say, I do like long form content so that I can chop it up.
Yeah, very repurposable. But if you're going to write long form content, make it about stuff that people really, really want to talk to you about and hear from you about. And one way to figure that out is start with the short form content, see what hits, right? And then say, oh, okay, this is the thing that people want to take a deeper dive into. And even better, if you get their questions back in the comments, or if you write a one line question post, which I love, conversation starters. This is like the bulk of what I do in my Facebook group. Get other people, get your members talking and see what they need to talk about, what they want to talk about. Is there a common misconception? Is there just like a trending idea, or, something that jumps out at you like, okay, now my finger's on the pulse about this topic. Now I'm going to take this and expand it into long form content, a summit talk, blog post, a podcast episode, YouTube video, whatever. So that way, you're talking about stuff people care about. Pro tip.
Never thought about that before. Doing the opposite, starting with the short form and moving in.
Oh,
that's genius. Yeah.
Great minds. So, right. So back to Reels, short form content. So then if you like drop a bomb, say, and people in your network really respect what you have to say and like what you have to say and want their people to see it, they will share it. I find that all of my content, my Reels get shared the most, and people like to share content. The funny thing is, I'm telling people to stop that all the time. Like, don't make other people the thought leader. You be the thought leader. Show that you have but you know what? If you want to share my Reels, great, go ahead. And so if you drop like your number one top tip for your people to do this thing, or like the number one misconception or the biggest mistake, or this is whatever sort of like special nugget of knowledge you have, just the one, because people don't need that much in the beginning when they're like new to your world. Like, think about it. Like, if you had a friend who had a talent that you didn't know how to do, like, I don't know, they made a movie or something, right? And you went to them and you're like, how do you get started with movies? And they explain to you the whole process, start to finish, of making a movie. You'd be like,
overwhelmed.
Right. So people just need that like one little teeny tiny spark. And if you think about it, like, when your thoughts have been shifted, was it because of a big, like, grandiose explanation of something? Or is it like that one little like key turn, like click, like, oh, okay, now I get it, right? Short form content.
In my own mind, I'm a researcher, and I've had plenty of arguments with people who say story is the way to go. I can't stand it. I just really want them to tell me the answer. That's what I like about Rock Your Tribe. The shortest little post. You say, hey, Facebook is giving away scholarships for community management. Yes. That LinkedIn is giving away, I forgot what LinkedIn was giving away, but I learned it from you. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yes. It's like, you give away the best information in short form.
Thank you. I mean, this is my approach to everything. All killer, no filler. I had a career for a little while as a DJ, and like, this was part of my approach too. There are infinite numbers of songs in the world from all times, like, the history of humankind making music. Why in the world would you play a dumb song? Like, there's no reason to, because there's so much, like, in the infinite amount of music, there's at least enough good stuff that you and your people like, that you could fill an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 5 or 6 hours, depending on what I was doing. All killer, no filler. Like, don't waste people's time. Like, if you think about the people you want to work with, people with big money who are going to fork it over for some stuff you really enjoy to do. People who are not going to hassle you, people who trust you to do what you're going to do, right? It's the big ticket people who are busy. They are busy, right? Running a company or a department or doing the damn thing, right? So they're like, I just want to pay for the best person to handle this so I don't have to think about it. I don't want to worry about it. I don't want to yell at anybody. I don't want to know when I'm going to get the thing. And I want to trust that, like, when I get it, I can just glance at it and like off it goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those people.
I like that. But I gotta ask,
Yeah.
since you're a fan of short form content, and
Mhm.
I am a fan of yours for your short content, what gave you the idea of hosting the events about it?
About reels.
Yep.
Okay. I, I love doing events, and I've been doing them in real life. The DJ thing, prior to that, I have tattoos. I ran a nonprofit bicycle repair shop in Atlanta, Georgia, where I did everything. But I also booked all of our benefit parties, art shows, auctions, and things like that. So I've been like very events oriented for almost 20 years, offline and now online. And my best events are the things that I just kind of come up with on a whim. Like, it's so funny because people are like, Rachel, you're so strategic. And I'm like, it's just how my brain works. I don't know. I'm just doing things. And so I started doing reels because a friend of mine put me on in them. And then I got into it and I played around and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Why haven't I been doing this? And so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to use these for the purpose, the explicit purpose of getting people into my Facebook group. Let me just be like laser focused on this one thing, right? I'm not worried about going viral. I'm not worried about a million views. If I get a million views, fantastic. But my purpose is to establish myself as a thought leader and community leader for my tribe, which is, not the entirety of like the users of Facebook, right? I'm here for business leaders to rock their digital communities, usually Facebook groups. So, it's a subsection just to reach them and let you guys know, hey, I'm here for you. And I have this awesome place where we can hang out. It's my Facebook group. I'm going to hook you up with things. I'm going to sell you stuff, but I'm going to help you a lot too. So it's going to all work itself out. So I had this idea like, okay, you know what? I want to do an event to just share what I know so far. Not that I'm like the world's leading expert on reels. I'm not. And so I'm positioning this like,
Is it because they just came out like not too long ago?
I mean, they've been around. They've been around a couple of years, but it's like they're just kind of catching on now, and the monetization is catching on. And I just really love it. And I saw an opportunity. I was like, I can throw a fest. Okay, so to take it back to my Facebook group and the short form content and how you do market research in your own Facebook group, I asked a couple of months ago in my group, how do you feel about 5-day challenges? Honest answers only. And people are not really feeling the 5-day challenge anymore. It was super hot during like pandemic time. People were home, had time to do things. And now we're back in the real world and kids are going back to school and people go to jobs and things. And 5 days is a lot, big commitment. So what came back to me from that question was 3 days. We'll do a 3-day thing. So I thought, okay, I'm not even going to make it a challenge. I'm not going to front like, I'm going to tell you how to be the most amazing reel maker ever, but I'm going to tell you the easy way to just show up and talk to your people and refer them back to your Facebook group, because that's what's working for me. Just playing around and doing it for a little while. I got 200 new members into my Facebook group through a combination of people seeing it because I posted it, and then people reposting into their groups. And so the shareability factor makes a big difference with these things. And you get other people's cosign, somebody else is saying to their network, oh, come to this place. It's awesome. I'm there. It's great. Instead of you, the individual, it's like party promoting, right? Like when you're an artist or you're a DJ or whatever, you can go to people and be like, play my song, come to my party. But if their friend comes to you, if your friend comes to you and they're like, oh, I'm going to see this artist, I want to go to this DJ party, want to come with me? Same thing. It's the cosign. So right, back to the Reels Fest. So I figured, let me throw a fest where it's like, I'm gonna make it easy. You all know me, easy breezy. I'm not gonna be like intimidating expert about it. I'm just gonna tell you how to use this tool for this one purpose, this thing that I am an expert about. We're gonna do it together. It's gonna be really fun, even if you're an introvert, even if you've never done Reels before, just come on down. It'll be fun. And that's where the idea came from. And now I'm starting to see, it's funny because I'm in all of these communities for Facebook group admins. And now people are like catching on, like, oh, how do you do reels to get people in your Facebook group? And I'm like, can I promote my event, please? No?
Yes,
Okay.
you should definitely ask the admins, can you do presentations in their group?
I do. I ask everybody, but some people are like, no.
If you ever want to come do a presentation for event producers host engaging and profitable virtual summits and or virtual summiteers, yes, please, and thank you in advance.
I will be there. And now like this is my performance style.
So events, reels, groups, how did you know they would all fit well together? Because so far for me, outside looking in, it's a great idea.
Um, I don't know. Like I've been doing this for a while and it just sort of clicked, I guess. And also it's the feedback too. And this goes back to my community organizing days and my DJ days. It's like you try something, you put something out there, put a song on, put an idea out there, and see what comes back to you, and reading not just what people say and what they do and their sort of like physical plane reactions, but sort of like reading the room, kind of reading the energy of it too, because people will say one thing and do something else but think another thing, sort of being tapped into your community. And that's why it's so important in your Facebook group. This is why I say like the magic is in the comments. People are really focused on like crafting like a perfect piece of content, a value post, something that explains a lot of things, like an instructional post, and then people don't really interact with them so much. I'm just trying to start a conversation, because it's really in the comments where you really get to know a person and figure out like, what is their vibe? Are we aligned in some way? Do we feel each other? You don't know that until you really have like a back and forth with somebody. So that's what I'm looking for. And that allows me to show my personality more, because only so much comes out over text, right? Words on a screen, which is why I really like emojis to sort of like tell people what I meant. Because sometimes what I meant in text doesn't land with people the same way. There's like a little bit of neurodiversity happening over here. So I know that sometimes I need to sort of explain myself a little bit better. When
English is so hard. Dyslexia is real and it's not just for writing. Sometimes I don't understand.
Okay. So, and this is something in tangent, but it'll all make sense, I promise you. But in the world of neurodiversity, we've got autism, ADHD, dyslexia, synesthesia. Like there are so many operating systems that different people are running in their brains, in our brains, perceiving information and processing it differently from each other. And if we make information processable to a diversity of brains, then we get a much richer community experience and much more input and much more creativity and different ideas that you might not consider, but somebody who processes that information differently will see. And that way, we can position everybody in our community, first of all, as all abled. If people are coming to the table like, I have a disability, it's really the environment that's disabling. If all buildings that had different levels all had ramps and elevators, then it would be an enabling environment to people who need ramps and elevators and for whom stairs are a no-go or super challenging. So if we can make our communities neurodiversity friendly, then it is an enabling environment to all the people that really belong inside our nest. So that's my little neurodiversity soapbox. How about that?
Yeah. So when you get the recording of this, you need to clip this out and use that as a reel, because that was pretty good.
Hey, I just hosted actually a talk about this, a roundtable co-hosted in the Meta Certified Community Manager group. Because I've noticed this among community managers. It's a thing. It really is a thing. Neurodiversity, not that all community managers, those of us who are like really committed to this, not that everybody is neurodivergent, but the more I talk about my own stuff and open up to people, obviously, I mean, and I know you said you don't really like the storytelling, but let me tell you, And you don't have to do long form storytelling. Storytelling can be like a sentence, just telling your truth in one sentence. And you would be amazed how many people come back to you who are like, yes, I vibe with this because it's me, it's my family, it's somebody I love, it's somebody in my world, and this makes sense to me, and this endears me more to you, and this makes me realize you are my person. Even if the thing you're going to help me with has nothing to do with this. You're going to help me with summits, you're going to help me with Facebook groups, but I feel connected to you. I trust you. You know how my brain works. You know how my feelings work. You understand the person that I love, you know. So just telling people your truth. It doesn't have to be a whole novel, but telling people your truth short form, it really goes a long way. Right. So I found out that like all of these community managers or feeling the neurodiversity, and it's not just them, but like their whole admin teams. And so I wound up co-hosting a roundtable discussion about this, because in the world of community management, it's a new industry, like seeing it as an industry. So we have an opportunity, and we're supported by Meta to shape the industry. So I thought, well, why not build it into the bones of this industry? Like, what industry was built, with a foundation of being neurodiversity friendly? So I feel like that's a way that we could really wave this banner and be really, what's the word I'm looking for? Just really progressive about it, and just, take a stand and say, like, this is what community is really about.
And I like that. And I'm not against stories. I like long form conversations. Like that's how I take my walks. I'm a big fan of Chris Do, and his interviews are about an hour long.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I know my walk is over, because the conversation is done.
Yeah.
So you have helped me. You've told plenty of stories just now, and you have helped me, because on Tuesdays I stream for One Stream Live, and I had the bright idea of doing marathon Mondays, like once a month. Like for I'm also a graphic designer. A good portfolio would be 10 to 12 pieces. So I'm thinking I'm going to take my long form content, I'm going to take my short form content, I'm going to piece it all together in a playlist, and I'm going to let it play all day for 10 to 12 hours. But hearing you say I need short form content, maybe my marathons will all be my clips.
Yeah. Yeah, digestible bits of information. If you think about how people learn, this is something I think about a lot. The best learning happens when you are relaxed, having fun, when you're entertained, and when you're allowed to absorb and synthesize the information. Because if the information keeps coming, you don't have a chance to let it sit in your brain. So like, this is why, for example, if you do yoga and you do corpse pose at the end and you're supposed to just lie there for like 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, it's actually really, really important, because everything you just did is being integrated into your being at that time. So if we look at, cognitive learning the same way, it's like, give people a bit of information, let them sit. And then you got to give them a chance to ask questions too. And this goes back to my DIY bike shop days, where it was volunteer run and we were helping people do stuff. And one of the rules was, don't take tools out of people's hands. And so we had this like, I do, we do, you do kind of vibe, right? So if there's 2 sets of brakes on a bike, I can show you how to do it on one. Okay, now you do it on the other. I'm not going to touch the tools. You do it, but I'm here to help, right? So I think we can take these lessons into, right now, because of the nature of this talk, I'm just like jibber jabbering, which I can do all day. But all of these little bits, like you said, like we can just take that clip and make that a reel. Same idea. We can just pull the little bits out, like, okay, that thing you said, make that a reel, make that a post. And I think it's easier to do when you're listening to somebody else, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were talking about neurodiversity, and I said chop that up, make it a clip. Not only that, take that transcript and make it an infographic. Not only that, make that a blog post. Not only that, make each sentence or little pieces of it a social post. I love repurposing content.
That's brilliant. That was that. Ooh, thank you for that. It's like I think I'm good at multi-streaming. I think I'm good at repurposing. No, no, no. It's you.
Is how you said, I can see other people so clearly. I cannot see myself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's why it's good to have a team. It's good to have a brain trust, have somebody kind of looking over your shoulder. It's good to get into a membership where, you have people who will let you know. People tell me stuff all the time, like Jamie Snell in my Facebook group, who does eco-friendly subscription boxes, just hit me up to let me know that I needed to fix the date on an event in my Facebook group. She was like, hey, what's up with this? And I was like, oh, I changed the date, yada, yada. And she sent me a screenshot like, hey, you changed the banner, but not the actual event date. So, I mean, it's good. This is why you need community. And this is why you need to treat your community members as partners in your business. So they are empowered to help you. And they're not afraid to let you know, like, oh, you missed something. Let me help you fix it. Let them help you. So can I tell you, like, I see this so much in Facebook groups when it's like, usually like a service provider kind of coach kind of person. There's a lot of sort of like treating people like little babies, and focusing on people who are really at a certain point of, struggle. I really hate the struggle question. We talk about that for a long time. Positioning your offers to people who maybe are not in a position to be buying a solution, maybe need social services. But like really positioning it like, you are at the top of the mountain talking down to your people who are going to lift them up, it's like God complex or something. Whereas I like to see members of my community as partners in my business, and we're on an equal playing field, and I'm not the expert in everything. There are plenty, and I don't know everything there is to know about my own thing because there's so freaking much to know. And what I found out in the world of community managers is we're all on the same highway, but we kind of occupy our own lane, So I have my approach and somebody else might have a different approach to it. And then it's up to you to decide, okay, I like Rachel's version of this, or I like this person's version of this, or I kind of want to put the two things together. So, I think it's worthwhile to think about, like, how am I creating my community that's building my brand and building my business where, even if I'm helping people, but I'm not seeing them like I got to save them, I'm seeing them like I might sell to them. I might do a guest expert session on their platform. They might tell me something that changes my world. They might refer me to new business. There are so many ways you can derive value from your community through your community members, like in addition to helping and selling to people. And I think it makes for easier sales, actually, when things are more balanced out.
I like that. In your group, you give so much value. Anything that I can share with you to help you move forward, I want to do because you've done that for me already. Yeah. So I hope a lot more people, feel that same way, because you're brilliant. And I want to be around brilliant people. I want to help brilliant people because I want to be a brilliant person also.
Well, you are, and thank you. And I think also, and tell me if you ever feel this way, but like it coming out as like, it's okay. This might sound really weird, but being like intelligent on the internet, and speaking intelligently on the internet, and being open about it is kind of a thing. I feel like, like, can I speak the way that I do on the internet, and will people respond to me positively, or will it be alienating, if I use certain vocabulary? It's a thing that I think about sometimes. Like I don't know if you've ever feel this way.
Yes, but you made me feel better about it in your group. You said all geeks who like I forgot what it was, all geeks who like something. And I was like, oh, that's me. It's me. I was
Yeah,
like, I want to talk about RSS feeds and automation all day.
yeah, yeah. And so if you are a nerd or a geek or however you may identify, you might as well wave that flag and call in people who want to wave that flag with you, because it just, it makes it so much easier when the more you are. And people say this all the time, right? Like, be your authentic self. And what does that even mean? But truly, the more comfortable you get with who you are and just show up as that person in your community for your people, you get your people. It's really, 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 really true. And so for me, like, I'm a gifted program survivor with a master's degree. um it, it it was kind of a thing to, learning how to do social media marketing, but like marrying that with like, I'm going to talk in a certain way because this is who I am, this is my experience, and it's going to make sense to certain people. you know and it's really worked out um in my favor, I think. I don't know if that sounds like super weird, but like maybe you attract like
it,
an audience that understands this as well.
it feels like a relief when people understands your English or
Yeah.
your version of English. I mean, I go through drive-throughs all the time and the talking box have no idea what I'm talking about. And when I get to the window, they don't give me what I asked for because it seems like English is that hard.
It is. Well, you know what? It's a difficult language to start with, but also, I mean, there's dialects, there's, versions, there's generational versions of language, there's education and there's literacy and there's so many different factors. And then, I mean, throw in the neurodiversity on top, throw in autism on top. I get in trouble sometimes for my bluntness. And I don't know, like, I think I'm just telling people what is important for them to know in this moment. And I'm saying it with love. And sometimes people are like, whoa. And I'm like, I'm just calling it like I see it. I just want to, because if I need to know a piece of information in order to be most successful, and I don't know it, but you know it, I want you to tell me, even if it might hurt my feelings. Not that I'm trying to hurt people's feelings, but I'm confident enough and I trust you enough that if you said to me, Rachel, what you're doing with your live streams or what you're doing with your summit talks, there's a way you could do it better. Want to hear about it? I'd be like, yes, please tell me. Because I just want to do the best job that I can do. So but it's better that people in my world know that if you ask me a question, I'm going to give you a really solid answer. I'm not going to but I will tell people sometimes if they're new to my world, I'll tell them, listen, I want to drop a bomb on you. Are you okay with that? Like, I ask for consent first.
I understand you were talking about, you had mentioned that if you were hosting a summit or an event and I had a different perspective, I should tell you. I mean, I don't want to tell you that it's wrong because I love enrollment events and other people like webinars and they just want to call them summits. And I want to tell them there's a big difference, but that's how they run their business. And people who don't know, and they probably don't care. So I don't want to interrupt your flow because I like what you're doing.
Well, you have full license to tell me your thoughts, please. Like, no, I respect what you do a lot.
Okay. Well, if you're interested in enrollment events, we can talk about that all day because I get excited about that stuff.
Cool. That's awesome.
So, you're a DJ, you're a social worker, and you run communities. I wanted to know, for me, what's the point of having an event if you don't have a community? So, how do you get started with a community?
I fully agree with you. And this is what a lot of summit directors miss, because they make that pop-up community, that temporary community, and then they don't funnel them into a place where it can just live indefinitely, and then you could continue to cultivate and sell to and enlist in your follow-up events, probably preaching to the choir. So how do you start a community? The most important thing to know about community is that it's about shared interest and shared identity. One or the other or both. That's what it's about. And the mistake that business owners who start Facebook groups make, a lot of us, and I'm guilty of this too. I wanted an online business and I saw that people had Facebook groups. That's a thing. So I started a Facebook group. Luckily, I have a background in community building. And once I put like 2 and 2 together, I was like, oh, okay, I know what to do. But in the beginning, I did it because it's what other people were doing. And you really have to ask yourself, are my people on Facebook? Do they join Facebook groups, or are they on LinkedIn, or are they on Instagram, or do they prefer Reddit? Go where your people are and build your community there. Because the truth is, you can build community anywhere on any platform. It doesn't have to be Facebook. It doesn't have to be a Facebook group. It could be a business page. You can build community from a page. It really depends what tools you want and who your people are and what they care about and where they hang out. So there's that. So the shared interest and identity piece, what happens with business owners a lot is they'll make the community like about their business. And unless you've got, a legacy brand or a brand that people really vibe with, Starbucks, Apple, certain kinds of streetwear, record labels, people want to sort of be in the bubble of that brand. And it makes sense to be in a community that's really about that business. But even Starbucks, their Facebook group is called Leaf Rakers Society, not Starbucks customers, not coffee lovers. It's not even about the main thing that they sell. It's about the vibe of a seasonal product, pumpkin spice latte, which is very divisive, right? Think about that. So even Starbucks, their community is about a vibe of a seasonal product that like gets people riled up. Shared interest and identity. People identify with this pumpkin spice latte or they don't. And then another thing that people will do is make it about like the from to the to, the transformation or the mindset shift that happens. Just like make it about the outcome. Make it about who people want to be. If you think about the groups you would want to go to recruit people for your group, make your group that group. Be like, imagine the group you'd want to poach people from and make that group. So think about who your people are and what they care about collectively. And something I run up against, an objection, if you will. People will say, well, I don't want to exclude anybody. But the thing is, you are not for everyone. Communities are exclusive. They are. There's no like, is there a global community of like every friggin' buddy? No, there's not. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. And so you might as well just, and if somebody feels like they belong and you want to grant them access, cool. But like, just realize communities function with boundaries and a certain level of exclusivity. Either you belong or you don't, because communities are about a sense of belonging. And there is no such thing as a community that everybody on the planet belongs to. Otherwise, like, we'd not have any more wars, So you might as well. And I do have a workbook about this. If I can plug something else while I'm here, I just released a new version of my Facebook group's workbook. So if you go to rockyourtribe.com/workbook, that workbook will take you through.
You already have it up because you can share your screen.
Oh, cool. Yay, because
so we'll know what we're looking for.
My team just updated it. So let's go here. We can go to rockyourtribe/workbook. Updated for 2022. It always loads like really slow when I'm on Zoom. Here we are. So this is what it looks like, the workbook. And so it's going to go through defining who your group is for and the persuasive reason why they should join. The easy way to name your group so your tribe is going to find it, because naming your group is one of the top like frequently asked questions that I get. It's like the weirdly difficult thing about Facebook group is, how do I name this thing? So I've got an exercise and templates, suggestions Not that you have to take the suggestions, but get your gears turning, or you could just use them straight up if you wanted to. And how to get the word out about your group. So I talk about reels. I talk about content from your profile. I talk about all these ways to get the word out. Plus, I've got scripts and swipe copy to make it super easy. What it does not cover is your settings, monetization, moderating, like dealing with members, building your mailing list, my content, my time-saving content plan. That's in my masterclass, which you could buy at checkout if you want to add it. I feel like, where is it? Oh, if you're looking for all that stuff, you get the workbook, go to checkout, and you can add the masterclass on top. But the workbook is really about the most important things that you need to do when you're establishing your community. And it's, if you nail a great community concept, it's really not that hard, honestly. I see Facebook groups grow overnight because it's about a thing, like an identity or an interest that people care about and want to belong to. Have you come across a Facebook group and just seen the name and thought, I need to join that. I need to be in there. Whatever that is, I need to be in there.
I gotta tell you the truth. How I find my groups, I ask my phone, where does event planners hang out on Facebook? Like, what groups do event planners or event producers hang out? It gave me a list. I joined those groups.
There you go. Okay, so you bring up a really good point about discoverability and searchability too. And so this is another thing with naming your group according to who your people are, what they're interested in their own words. Sometimes we're so close to the subject, we like the jargon, we like our little made up lingo sometimes, or we want to be cute about it. But think about, like, put on your SEO hat for a minute and think about, what is somebody typing into the search bar to find me, just like you did. And this is something you want to think about with the name of your Facebook group, and making sure that terminology is something that your intended members would search for, or at least come across and go, oh, that's me. I belong there.
Yeah, I like that. So now I'm thinking, if that's me and I belong there, I need to talk to that community manager. If that community manager is not me, we need to host an event together, because the community is already there and you're doing something for that community, giving them more of the same stuff that they like. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that you make me think about stuff. And I was like, I don't know why I didn't think about that before.
That's what I'm here for. But you give me things to think about too. See, there's like this great, like, give and take sharing thing that's happening.
Woohoo. So I've heard from my phone, of course, that community managers, their starting income is like a 47,000, something like that.
Okay, I'll show you. Let's Google it together. Because this is something that I like to bring up. So we can go average salary community manager USA, right? So we get,
that's a lot more,
right? It's pretty good. And part of it is that community management is kind of lumped in with social media management, which takes us into the realm of CMOs sometimes, and like there's like community partnership executives. So it really runs the gamut. But it's important for people to see that community management is a job. It's a whole job that could come with a salary if you wanted it to. You can get certified. I have a certification, Meta Certified Community Manager. You can get certified for free if you join a learning group and get a voucher, and that opens up doors for you. But my point to all of my fellow Facebook group admins, whether you are a business owner or not, you are doing a job, and people feel like, oh my God, I feel like I'm doing so much. Well, because you are, like, you're literally like, it's a thing, and you should get yourself paid. There are ways to get paid through Facebook. I have achieved some of them. But you can conjure multiple streams of revenue in your Facebook group in all sorts of ways, creatively. I've counted, I've come up with a list of, like, I don't know, over 20 at this point, ways.
Please say that is an infographic or an ebook.
It should be. It really should be. I know. Okay. So come up with your list of things we need to do, and we'll work it out. Whatever you need from me is yours. We can do a thing.
That would make a great lead magnet. 20 things to make income from Facebook, or 20 ways to produce an income from Facebook.
Yeah, it's actually in my master class, and there's more now. Like I've come across more, like more I talk to people, and more creative ideas I come across. And the one thing that I'm like somewhat obsessed with right now is brand partnerships. So things where you don't even have to directly sell to your members, but where you partner with a brand. And it's like influencer marketing. It's not like they're coming in and writing sales posts or putting advertisements in your group, but you partner with them on certain kinds of content where you, the admin of the group, are going to put some shine on whatever this company is or whatever they're selling, or, share a deal or something. The way influencer marketing works, the way it works on Instagram, for example. And so this is something that's available to all Facebook groups, as long as if you're going to work through a broker or a marketplace that does this, there will be certain requirements, things that the brands are looking for. But if you want to do it on your own, like if you think about it, this is a form of brand partnership, right? You're giving me access to your brand world right now. So there are ways to DIY it, and there are ways to work it. And people get, worried about, like, you can't pay, people aren't allowed to pay for a post in your group, but there are ways to work it. There are creative ways to get creative about it. And there's also even a brand partnerships feature. There's a feature built into Facebook. It's a little wonky, but it's getting there. So like Facebook is embracing the monetization of Facebook groups. So don't trip about it. There was a time where it was like, no, don't do it. And people are worried about Facebook jail, but like, seriously, don't. The people that they really don't want selling are the scammers, the spammers, and people who are selling things that are absolutely against community policy. Like you can't sell weapons. You can't sell like human body parts. There are things you're not allowed to sell that I don't think any of you are selling. So don't worry about it. So brand partnerships, and along those lines, affiliate marketing. If there is something that you recommend up and down, you recommend it anyway, you're shouting about it anyway, it's something that you use, love, rely on, and your group would love it too, you might as well share an affiliate link. So I use an automation. It's a Chrome extension that grabs the answers to the 3 membership questions for my group, puts them in a spreadsheet, and puts the email addresses into my mailing list. So I use this day in, day out. I love it. It's called Group Leads, and I share my affiliate link all the time. Is it like a lot of money? No, but like it's money that's coming in that I didn't really have to work very hard for. And it covers, basically, I think of it like it covers all of my little subscriptions. Because you know how like when you're doing this business thing on your own and you have like 8,000 tiny subscriptions to like Canva and Zoom and StreamYard and like Active Campaign, ManyChat. So I think of it.
I gotta say, I am addicted to lifetime deals.
Yes.
I don't mean to be.
And on Black Friday, that's the time to grab them, or when they're on sale. So I think of it that way. It's like this, why say no to a stream of revenue that's like super easy, that you can just run almost on autopilot through your Facebook group. But you can sell, if you don't even have a business attached to your group, you can sell merch. That's easy. You don't even need to have inventory anymore. You drop ship it. It's crazy. Yep. Like the tools are there if you want it. There's literally money everywhere if you want it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like you could probably give a talk on just the tools you use. Oh, I have an idea for you.
Okay.
You're talking about partnerships. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with repurpose.io?
Yes, I've seen this.
Okay. So Hanny Mora, great guy, owner, creator of repurpose.io. He made it so that you can make your reels, TikToks, and stories unlabeled by the platform. Ooh. And I think you can put your own logo on there. So I thought if you want to do any more talks in Facebook groups, ask Hanny. Because Hanny has a platform for reels and other short form content.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna hit you up about contact information after we hop off of this live.
And he's a great guy. And Repurpose is a great platform for short form content.
Awesome.
So when is Reel Fest? One more time.
One more time, September 12th through 14th. It's a Monday to a Wednesday. Of course, we're going to open the Facebook group. It's a pop-up Facebook group for the event. We're going to open that Friday, September 9th, so we can pre-party. So we can have a tailgate party. I called it a tailgate party, and like my European contingent was like, what even is a tailgate party? And I was like, I am so Florida right now. It's like a uniquely American institution that we are especially good at in Florida.
Well, they make trucks now where a grill pulls out of the tailgate. So
Time to be alive.
I got one more question. So you mentioned pop-up group. So I am a fan of Molly Mahoney, who also talks about groups and reels. And she says, if you're not using a Facebook group for a certain amount of time, I want to say maybe a year or two, they give it to someone else.
Yeah. So I actually made a reel about that when I found that out like a couple of months ago. You'll get a warning first.
Okay.
Don't worry. But the idea is there are so many abandoned communities out there that are great communities. It's just the admin burned out. Sidebar, this is why you need to get yourself paid some way, somehow. So it is sustainable. So you don't hit a wall eventually and have to leave because you just can't do it anymore. Because it is a whole job. So there are I joined one for my ancestry line. Like I found one for like the Spiewaks and going back a couple of generations, couple of different last names. And I got in there and it's been abandoned. And I'm like, this is my family that I don't know, like we're scattered around the world and like Jewish history, Holocaust, yada, yada. It's like, it'd be nice to know people, but it's like not being maintained. So point being, like, what will happen to these groups that have been more or less abandoned by their admin team, they're going to put up a notice. And I don't know when this is happening. So don't ask me when it will happen, but you'll get a notification saying, would you be cool with us inviting other members of this group to take over as admin? And I would assume it would like work off the most engaged members. And this is a recommendation in the certified community manager program. If you want to recruit admins or moderators for your group, go find out who your most engaged members are. You can see that in your analytics, and that'll give you some clues about who might be a good candidate to be on your ad mod team. So if going back to your original point, because I just like mentioned a million things, if you have not touched your group in a while, you can pause it. This is you can't archive anymore, but you can pause your group, just put it on pause, or go do some stuff in it, or just know that you may get a notification eventually saying, your group seems abandoned. Do you want to turn it over to somebody else?
Have you heard of a missing letter or a missing letter curate?
No, what's that?
So it's like a scheduler. Sometimes I want things and I don't really give it enough attention, but I want to keep it.
Yeah.
So with missing letter curate, you go through and you pick your category, your subject, whatever field you're in, and you say, I want posts like this. And you tell it where to go.
Oh my God.
And it goes there. That's it. So I hate to say it, but I love automation because I'm kind of lazy. But it works. It keeps the group active.
That's pretty brilliant. And well, okay, so like about laziness, like it's just being strategic, I think, like we have to protect our energy. And I'd rather work with the person who's going to find the tools, right, to like to simplify things, to take work off of my plate instead of adding more to it, because busy does not mean productive. And a lot of us, I think, I'm trying to get over the tendency to work myself into the ground. That's not why I started a business. I started a business so I don't have to be, stuck to a building or stuck somewhere for 40 plus hours, that I don't want to be, and I don't want to recreate that corporate experience in my own business when I started a business to get away from that.
Yeah. Makes sense. Rachel, I've held you here for close to an hour. I got like 5 minutes left. So could you please tell us where's the best place to find you?
Best place to find me, my Facebook group. You can go to rockyourtribe.com/Facebook, and that will take you to my group. It's called Rock Your Tribe Community Building for Business Leaders. And that's another pro tip, is to create a redirect link for your Facebook group. So it's super easy to be like rockyourtribe.com/Facebook. You can remember that, right? Easy.
Mm-hmm.
And also sign up for Reels Fest at rockyourtribe.com/reels. And you know what? Grab the workbook too. rockyourtribe.com/workbook.
I will put all the links in the comments on all the platforms.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. This is awesome. I could keep going, so we should probably cut it. So I'll stop talking.
I understand. I'm the same way, but I really do appreciate you being here, sharing your knowledge, your time and energy with us. Love it. Like I said, you are welcome to come back to any of my other platforms anytime.
Sure. I'm in.
Right.